Shankar Mishra, the by now infamous urinator of Air India's P-Gate, has been arrested and sent to 14 days in judicial custody. But the outrage and the continued interest, rather horror at what happened, is still unabated. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story, and we continue our special coverage on this big, disturbing story, a story of a man in his 30s, a corporate executive who gets drunk and then urinates on a co passenger on board an Air India flight from New York to New Delhi. Shankar Mishra since has lost his job. He's been produced before a Delhi court today that sent him to 14 days in judicial custody. But his lawyers are pushing back. His lawyers have now released details of a WhatsApp exchange that took place between him and the victim, claiming that a settlement that was amicable had been reached, and the complainant showed no signs of wanting to take this forward. Since then, of course, Air India CEO has also spoken up, and four cabin crew and one pilot have been grounded, at least pending investigation. Now, Shankar Mishra's lawyers initially claimed that there were no eyewitnesses, no other passengers were saying anything. Well, that's simply not true. A critical voice that has emerged in this entire saga is that of Dr. Sugata Bhattacharjee. He's a United States based doctor. He's with us now, and he has been one of those brave people who's really spoken up and spoken out. Dr. Bhattacharjee, we really appreciate your time, and I know we've been really chasing you to talk to us. So thank you for the time. Let me start by asking you straight off. This man at some point came to you and he said, "Bro, I think I'm in trouble." That quote of yours is gone. That quote of yours quoting him has kind of gone viral. Can you set the stage for us? You were sleeping when this whole thing happened. You woke up to
So
what?
the flight takes off around noonish. So it's a uh, there are no better connectivities to India without Air India. They have impeccable timing. So it takes off around noon from here, and it. So we took off. They served us lunch. I started talking to him, and I could see he was having quite a bit of whiskey, and he had like almost four drinks over the period of uh, the 40-45 minutes lunchtime. And uh, at the very end, what happened was he was asking me the same questions which he had asked, like, "Oh, do you have children? Oh, okay, okay. What do they do?" And again, he asked me, "Oh, do you have children? What do they do?" So he was a little repetitive. So when I finished lunch, I went to the galley. I did flag one of the male stewardess who was serving in our side. I said, "Hey, boss, just be a little careful. He had way too many, and just keep an eye." And then, like a regular passenger who sleeps through the whole flight, I went to sleep. And then it was a pretty turbulent flight, and I then woke up to a sound, and I could see that he just dropped to his seat, and he dropped, and he is sleeping. He's like almost passed out. So
Hmm.
I go to use
So
the
he's sitting right next to you. He's sitting right next
exactly
to you.
exactly. I'm in
Oh,
8A. He is 8C, right next to me. So
okay.
I go to the lavatory to use that, and then as I'm in the galley, I was trying to. They leave waters for you. I was drinking water. I see this lady coming in, and I thought she had spilled water or something. She had come to get, and she's a very quiet lady. She's a very decent, quiet lady, and maybe part of the reason why the whole aircraft was not aware of what was happening was there was no shouting or screaming. She said, "Look what he has done." And then we realized, because when we went close to her, her clothes, we could smell it. Her clothes were smelling, and even the bag which had her passport and other stuff, she brought that. That was smelling of urine. In
Yeah.
crisis, as you know and you have covered, there are always people, those who try going above and beyond their duty. There were two young staff, Rebecca and Ruby, who went. They wore gloves. They cleaned her up and changed her to the business jumpsuit. What bothered me was I called the senior purser and I said, that just change her seat. And she said, we cannot, the PIC is not available. The pilot in command is not available, and you have to take the permission. Now, I understand business was full and they could not have downgraded her. But when you have a distressed passenger like that, all the four seats in the first was vacant. They could have just taken her and said, okay, ma'am, lie down. Instead, for good 20 minutes, she sat in the seat where the crew sits next to the galley. And then finally, when one of the crew resting seats was available, they gave her that one of the seats, or like somehow at the back. And I was angry. I was angry because they did not take action. And then instead of reporting the whole thing, I saw they called the gentleman, and they called her, and they kind of went to mediation mode. They made them sit in front of each other. Now they are in no position to do that, because a crime has happened. Their job, the standard operating procedure is you separate the victim and whoever did the crime. You don't bring them together, and then you just report it to the appropriate authorities. Nothing was done. So and then when I saw that they are talking and they are trying to do a mediation, I kind of recused myself. But I said I want to make a complaint. So I asked for the JLB, which is the General Ledger Book. They said, well, it's not available. They give me a piece of paper.
Here is what we're hearing from a key witness in this case, where he's talking about sitting right next to Shankar Mishra, and he's talking about the victim being this really, really quiet lady, and maybe that's why the rest of the flight didn't really get to know what actually had happened with her. Now, the father of Shankar Mishra since then has claimed that the lady was in her 70s. His son, whom he calls a bacha, who's 34, couldn't have done this because the lady was old enough to be his mother. While we try to reconnect to Dr. Bhattacharjee, listen in to what Shankar Mishra's father had to say.
मुझे नहीं लगता कि ऐसा करेगा। वो लेडी 72 ईयर की है, माँ के जैसी है। ये 34 साल का बच्चा है, ऐसे कैसे कर सकता है? वो शादीशुदा है, उसकी एक बेटी है 18 साल की। ऐसा कोई भी आदमी नहीं कर सकता है। मुझे नहीं लगता कि ऐसा करेगा। वो लेडी 72 ईयर की है, माँ के जैसी है। ये 34 साल का बच्चा है, ऐसे कैसे कर सकता है? वो शादीशुदा है, उसकी एक बेटी है 18 साल की। ऐसा कोई भी आदमी नहीं कर सकता है।
So, Dr. Bhattacharjee, we lost you just for a few seconds there. Just unmute yourself. Yeah, there you are. You were saying that she was a very quiet woman, and that's why the rest of the flight didn't actually get to know what was going on. But you could smell the urine on her. You could, it was clear what had happened to her. What happened after that? You wanted to file a complaint. When you raised this with the crew, what happened after that?
I can't hear you. Can you repeat the question? For some
Yeah,
reason,
can you
now
hear
you
me?
are coming very soft.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I was saying, what happened after you tried to raise the issue with the cabin crew?
Nothing happened. Nothing happened. And can you hear me now? Am I legible? I mean,
Yeah.
am I audible? Okay.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes. Go ahead. Yeah.
so nothing happened, and I again went and I said, "उनको आप कहीं और बिठा दीजिए," and they did nothing, and I thought it is up to me to write a complaint. I wrote a complaint, and they said we'll attach to the jail. We will give it to the appropriate. But now then, when nothing happened, I thought, I don't know. It just one of those things. Nothing happened. But the victim's daughter did contact me a day after. Day after the incidents. I had gone for some. I had worked to Jaipur. She called me and she said that thank you very much for standing up, and I sent her. I told her I wrote a complaint, and she said, we are visible. We are very upset, and we are going to write to the chairman of the Tata board.
Now, I want to ask you something. Air India sources claim that the victim was moved to a crew business class seat. She was offered an alternative business class seat. Did this happen? Because in her statement, the complainant says that she had to sit on the soiled seat for a long time and she was only given the crew business class seat for a short period of time. Secondly, why did they not move her to first class? You've given a statement to the Times of India where you said there were 4 empty first class seats. How did you get to know that first class was empty? And what was the explanation given for not moving the victim in this case to first class?
So, the explanation again was that the head of the crew herself did not have the authority to change the seat, and as the PIC, the pilot of command, did not give the okay, they could not change the seat, which should not be. I think they should have adequate power to do things like this in the moment of crisis.
So you were actually there when the cabin crew said that the pilot had not agreed to move this complainant to first class.
She did not say the pilot is not willing. I said, what is the
Yeah.
hold up?
Mhm.
And she said that the PIC is not available now. And only when the PIC approves us, we can change a seat. We cannot change a seat on our own authority.
And by PIC, you mean the pilot in command. The commander of the aircraft was not available to give the go ahead for first class.
Right. So, Barkha, as you know, in this long flights, they have 2 sets of
Yes.
pilots. So
Yeah.
the PIC may have done his segment and was resting, and the other pilot was in command. But this is they take life. They are the one who will take decisions on our lives. So whoever in command should have just said, "Go ahead." You don't have to
Absolutely.
see. It was I was almost feeling as if I was not in an aircraft, but I was in a Delhi office, and I'm going through a bureaucratic process.
You felt you were in a Babu's office.
Pardon?
You felt you were in a Delhi bureaucrat's office.
Exactly, because they were like, oh, hum nahi kar sakte. I have to speak to the PIC. What would have happened? You just go tell the pilot who is available that this has happened, and I'm moving a passenger who is drenched in urine, and we have changed her and we are giving her a fresh seat. Anybody, and anybody who has compassion would have said yes. I don't think she could be your mom, my mom, the mother of the pilot, the mother of the crew, anybody. So if this I think there was. I'm not here to do a trial on what happened with Shankar Mishra and everything. I believe in the
Yeah.
Indian investigation. I believe in the judiciary. They will take their own course. My complaint was that there was no compassion, there was no empathy towards the distressed passenger. My complaint
Yeah.
was they did not follow the protocol, and adequate seats were not given to the lady.
I think we've got enough from you. We've got enough details. We're just going to say thank you there to the critical witness who's described the fact that there were 4 empty seats in first class, that the victim was drenched in urine, that he himself wrote a kind of formal complaint, that he complained to the cabin crew. The cabin crew did nothing at all, that the victim's daughter has thanked him for being the one person who actually stood up and took a position there, and that the reason that she was not moved to first class is because the commander of the flight was asleep and nobody else thought that they had the authority to move this lady. A horrific account there, and I think it puts to rest all of the contradictions and the skepticism that some people have tried to raise about the complainant's account. Thank you, Dr. Bhattacharjee, for raising your voice on this issue, and thank you to our viewers for watching. Take care and see you soon. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.